I'm Kento Bento.
This video is made possible by Brilliant, a problem-solving website that teaches you to think like a scientist. The first 200 people to sign up at brilliant.org/KentoBento will get 20% off their premium subscription. Where are the Asian borders? In previous videos, we started defining these borders in a clockwise direction from East Asia, through the boundaries bordering Australia, Africa, and Europe, along the Arctic coast of Siberia, and finally ending just shy of the Asia-North America border. For many of you watching, this region of Asia is likely to be the most unfamiliar of the entire continent, at least according to our Twitter followers. And while the continental divide here may appear simple at first, there are definitely a few intricacies for us to break down. In this video, we'll continue on in our journey to Alaska. Just a reminder, don't forget to subscribe and click the bell button so you can be part of our notification squad. So let's start where we left off, on the Russian coast between the East Siberian Sea and the Chukchi Sea, just below Wrangel Island, which is part of Asia, also the last place on Earth where woolly mammoths survived. Note, everything contained within this red borderline is considered part of Asia, while everything outside belongs to a different continent. This extreme northeastern part of the mainland is the Chukotka Autonomous Okrug of the Russian Far East, one of the least densely populated regions of Asia. Now, as mentioned before, by convention, continents are large, continuous, discrete masses of land ideally separated by expanses of water. So this is Asia, and this is not. Wait, what about this? Let's back up. So sure, let's continue the borders along the Chukotka coastline, officially leaving the Arctic at this point. Note the Arctic Circle. Over here lies the Bering Strait, 82 kilometers wide at its narrowest point, between Cape Dezhnev in Russia and Cape Prince of Wales in Alaska. Now, you may have heard the Bering Strait being the subject of a scientific hypothesis, where during the last glacial period, humans crossed over from Asia to North America across a land bridge. Today, one of the last remaining visible parts of that land bridge are these islands, known as the Diomede Islands, lying midway between the two continents. Zooming up closer, you can see that it consists of two islands, Big Diomede and Little Diomede. The question, though, is, are they considered part of Asia? Back at the beginning of the 19th century, the Russian Empire had extended all the way past the Bering Strait into Alaska, with the whole of Alaska being a Russian territory. But that was until 1867, when they sold it to the United States for $7.2 million. The text of the 1867 treaty between the US and Russia used the Diomede Islands to designate the boundary between the two countries. The subsequent border, which would then also serve as the continental boundary, separated equidistantly Big Diomede from Little Diomede, meaning these two islands, inhabited by the same indigenous peoples and at a distance of just 3.8 kilometers, would now formally lie on different continents. Big Diomede being part of Russia and Little Diomede part of the US, this making Big Diomede the easternmost point of Asia. The close-knit communities bound by family kinships, yes, were now separated by politics and state borders, even continental borders, and as such were forbidden to cross over. Notice that the islands are also separated by the international dateline, making Big Diomede almost a day ahead of Little Diomede, with a 21-hour time difference. This despite their close proximity. As such, the islands are sometimes referred to as Tomorrow Island and Yesterday Isle. Okay, that's it for the Diomedes. Let's move on down to the much larger St. Lawrence Island in the Bering Sea, an island with no trees or bushes and belonging to Alaska. Even though it's closer to the Russian mainland, it's usually associated with North America. Same goes with St. Matthew Island and the Pribilof Islands. Over here, we continue the border with the Kamchatka Peninsula. Wait, but how about these chain of islands extending westward from the Alaska Peninsula? Well, these are the Aleutian Islands, which mark a dividing line between the Bering Sea and the Pacific Ocean. These volcanic islands also form the northernmost part of the Pacific Ring of Fire. Now, this line here is the 180th meridian, the exact opposite of the prime meridian, dividing the Earth into the eastern and western hemispheres. This is where some people choose to draw the boundaries for the Aleutians. The thing is, though, this is all part of Alaska. which makes the Aleutian Islands the home to, sure, the westernmost point of North America, Amatignac Island, but also the easternmost point of North America, that being Semispochnoi Island, making Alaska a transcontinental state, and the westernmost, easternmost, and northernmost state of the US. But if we were to go with the westernmost point of North America in real terms, that being the farthest from mainland Alaska, it would be Attu Island. These islands over here, however, are the Commander Islands or Komandorsky Islands, which, while being a physical extension of the Aleutian Islands, actually belong to Russia, leading most to agree with the continental split being here. You can also see the international dateline running in between. From North Korea to Indonesia, Egypt, Turkey, Kazakhstan, and then Russia, it's now time for our journey's end. The border continues on past the Sea of Okhotsk, there's the Sakhalin Island and the Kuril Islands, but this final stretch here is pretty interesting because it's actually considered part of South America. Just kidding, it's Asian, and we're done. Or are we? Because the future may change everything. What will the Asian borders look like 20, 50, 100 years from now? Taking into account the greenhouse effect and global warming, the Asian borders or boundaries will look very different. And it's not just Asia we're talking about, but the world. If you want to understand how and why this happens, and I mean really understand it, then that will involve knowing how concepts like the greenhouse effect will impact our atmosphere, where the water goes when ocean tides fall, and why seasons change throughout the year. As much as we love explaining about Asia and the world around us, the best way to learn is by doing it yourself. Brilliant is a problem-solving website that teaches you to think like a scientist through interactive quizzes and courses that are designed to be interesting. Much like our videos, they take a problem, break them up into bite-sized concepts, present clear logic in each part, we did that, didn't we? And then build back up to an exciting conclusion. By going to brilliant.org/Kento Bento, you can get started for free. And if you're one of the first 200 people to sign up with the link below, you will receive 20% off your premium subscription. It's truly a great website, and by giving Brilliant a try, you will also be supporting us here at Kento Bento.